Well friends, this right here is a budget photographer and videographer's dream. I mean seriously, 8K video recording, 200 megapixel camera that shoot portraits like a DSLR and can capture low light shots that scream cinema camera. Sounds like a $1,000 flagship, right? Wrong, this thing only cost $150. Yeah friends, freaking $150. That's less than what some people spend on Starbucks in a month. And friends, it's not just the camera flexing here. You've got the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chipset, a massive 5000 mAh battery, and a display so gorgeous you might just fall in love with it. And honestly, for camera geeks, this display is basically your second girlfriend. Now I know what you're thinking, that Hamza, you're hyping this smartphone way too much. And yeah, guilty as charged, the smartphone is a beast in disguise. So if you want to shoot 8K videos, take 200 megapixel shots, and maybe even film your next viral TikTok that blows up your account, stick around because I'm about to show you the best camera smartphone you can get for just $150. Plus, I will walk you through how to squeeze every last drop of performance out of this smartphone. So make sure you watch till the end to see everything for yourself. And hey, if you're new here, then smash that subscribe button and tap the bell icon to never miss a brutally honest camera review like this one. So in bright daylight, the Xiaomi 12T Pro flexes its 200 megapixel muscles right away. That means since it is an absolute monster, sharp, detailed, and capable of handling dynamic range like a champ. Highlight stays in check, shadows don't collapse into pure black, and the colors are vibrant but still natural. It's the kind of performance that makes you question why do you ever need a DSLR for casual shots. Zoom into a brick wall or tree leaves, and you will still see plenty of fine textures with barely any visible noise. Plus, look at that dynamic range. It's like this camera has the brain of the pixel. I mean, this monster Samsung H2 sensor is too good for these scenarios. And friends, I really love that cinematic blur you get. I mean, look at this blur. That's the power of huge sensor and a wider aperture. Now, the interesting trick here is the 2x in sensor zoom. Since the 200 megapixel sensor is so massive, Xiaomi lets you crop right into the center to mimic a telephoto lens. And the results are surprisingly convincing. It feels like you got a dedicated 12 megapixel telephoto camera in your pocket without actually having one. Sharpness dips just a little, but unless you're pixel peeping on 4K monitor, you won't notice. And since it's the main camera, the dynamic range, the colors, the sharpness, everything stays consistent. So, for portraits and subject isolation, this 2x mode works great, and it's honestly way better than I expected. But then we have the ultra wide, and yeah, this is where things get shaky. At 8 megapixel, it just can't keep up with the details of the main sensor. Sure, the exposure and the colors match fairly well, but the fine details turn into mush, especially at the corners. And without autofocus, don't even think about using it for macro style close-ups. It works for landscapes or group shots, but beyond that, it feels more like a filter than a real supporting lens. But when the sun dips and the lighting gets tricky, the Xiaomi 12T Pro's 200 megapixel main sensor really shows what it's made of. Exposures stay well balanced, highlights don't completely brown out, and the shadow detail is preserved without that ugly water-cooled effect some phones love to slap on. Textures hold up nicely, colors stay accurate, and the sharpening feels natural instead of artificial. Xiaomi's computational photography sauce really kicks in here, and it pays off big time, as you can see in these shots. I've caught every possible way to show the results of the smartphone's camera just to test it. And man, it's just amazing. Now, the in-sensor 2x zoom holds up surprisingly well at night too. Instead of just throwing in noise and artifacts like many better phones do, it keeps dynamic range respectable and the colors lively. Sure, detail takes a slight dip compared to daylight, but it's still usable, especially if you want a tighter portrait or just closer to your subject without moving your feet. Honestly, I didn't expect it to hold its ground this well in low light. But here we are, and the reason behind it is that f1.7 aperture. And then there's the ultra wide. Okay, in daylight, it was already suffering, but in dark, it just steps out. Details get mushy, sharpness runs for the hills, and the colors look like they've had a rough night out. Yes, the phone tries to solve things with its night mode, boosting brightness and keeping dynamic range somewhat in check, but the results still look soft and unimpressive. So if you're snapping nights, cityscapes or neon lights, stick to the main camera. The ultrawide is more like a just-in-case backup here, not something you will want to rely on. Now, This is where the Xiaomi 12T Pro flexes its 200 megapixel sensor as it's auditioning for DSLR role. Portraits. Well, they come out sharp, skin tones look natural, and the edge detection surprisingly clean. You don't get that cut out with the Kinger Grit and Scissors vibe that cheaper phones sometimes give you. Background separation is smooth, and the bokeh feels creamy enough to make your Instagram followers ask you if you switch to a mirrorless camera. But here's the catch though. Since the smartphone doesn't have a dedicated telephoto lens, you are relying on the in sensor to crop photos, lettering, zoom, and portrait shots. And honestly, it does the job way better than expected. Now, the 200 megapixel camera was the Xiaomi 12T Pro's headline features when it launched. The kind of camera that makes people go, wait, 200? And yeah, it's a great conversation starter. But here's the truth. For everyday shooting, 200 megapixel mode is more hype than help. When you switch to full resolution, the files are massive. We're talking 45 MB to 85 MB each. That's storage obliterating territory. And while you might expect insane macroscopic level details, the reality is a bit overwhelming. Sure, the images are bigger, but they're also heavily sharpened, and that extra details doesn't look natural. Zoom in and it feels like you're storing a painting with bold brush strokes instead of crisp photos. So in short, the 200 MB mode isn't ready for pros, pixel peeping every corner of an image. It's for flexing, showing off, and giving the software room to work its magic. Cool for demos, maybe once in a while for landscapes, but trust me, you won't be living in a 200 megapixel mode. Now, the front camera of the Xiaomi 12T Pro is rocking 20 megapixel sensor with an f2.2 aperture. So in daylight, it's actually pretty solid. Skin tones look natural, details is decent, and you won't feel embarrassed about posting these shots straight onto Instagram. It's a reliable selfie camera, nothing to complain about for casual use. But once the lights goes down, yeah, that's when the cracks show. The smaller sensor and the fixed focus design really starts to struggle. Low-light selfies come out soft, noisy, and honestly only Snapchat filter level quality. You will look fine for a quick video call or a meme story worthy, but don't expect poster quality shots. Now, when it comes to video, the Xiaomi 12T Pro's main 200 megapixel sensor absolutely shines. Shooting in 4K 60 FPS, the footage looks clean, sharp, and vibrant. Exactly what we expect from a smartphone that was marketed as a camera-first flagship killer. The dynamic range is strong, keeping the highlights under control while still pulling out plenty of details in the shadows. Colors are punchy, but not cartoonishly oversaturated, and the stabilization thanks to the OS keeps everything smooth, even when you are walking and recording. Honestly, if you slap alert on this footage, you could easily fool someone into thinking it came from a mirrorless camera. The background blur from the huge sensor adds the natural, cinematic depth that most mid-range phones can only dream of. So for creators on budget, this is where the Xiaomi 12T Pro flexes hardest. Now this is where the Xiaomi 12T Pro surprises the most. The low light, that giant 200 megapixel sensor with OIS really earns its keep. Shooting at 4K 60 FPS on low light, the footage still looks shockingly clean. Shadows hold detail, highlights don't get nuked, but street lights and skin tones stay natural instead of turning ghostly. Yeah, there's some noise, but honestly, it's handled gracefully. You won't see that mushy, water-cooled mess you get on cheaper smartphones. Instead, texture stays intact, edges are sharp, and the stabilization still keeps everything steady even when walking at night. If you ever tried vlogging in low light with a mid-range smartphone, you know how bad it can get. But here, the Xiaomi 12T Pro genuinely feels like punching in the flagship class. Now, 4K at 30 FPS, the Xiaomi 12T Pro's main camera really flexes its strength here. In daylight, the footage looks almost cinematic. Crisp detail, excellent dynamic range, and those punchy colors Xiaomi is known for. Shadows hold their depth without crashing, highlights don't blow out easily, and the stabilization feels rock solid for the frame rate. Whether you're panning across a city skyline or just walking through a park, the results look professional without needing a gimbal. Now in the low light, 4K 30 FPS is even more impressive. Most smartphones tend to over-smooth or crank the noise reduction to the point where footage looks like water cooler. But here, details stay sharp, noise is well controlled, and the colors remain natural. Street lights look clean, neon sign pop, and even darker areas hold up without turning into a grainy mess. Sure, there's still a little noise if you pixel peep, but for a 2022 smartphone holding up in 2025, that's a massive win. So for creators, 4K 30 FPS is the sweetest spot, giving it the best balance of sharpness, dynamic range, and low light consistency. And now, here's where things fall apart a bit. 8 megapixel ultrawide on the Xiaomi 12T Pro is basically the weak line of the squad. For video, you're stuck at 1080 with 30 fps, which already feels dated in 2025. Daytime clips are fine for casual stuff. Colors match the main camera decently, and the exposure control isn't terrible. But once you look closely, sharpness just isn't there. Details get smudgy, and if you're picky about image quality, you will notice it right away. Low light, oh boy. Ultrawide basically waves the white flag. Noise creeps in everywhere. Details vanish into blurry soup, and the dynamic range collapses. If you're hoping to shoot a cinematic night walk with this lens, forget it. You would end up with something that looks like it was recording on a 2017 budget smartphone. So yeah, if you're buying the 12T Pro for video, just stick to the main camera. The ultrawide is fine as a backup, but definitely not the star of the show. Now let's talk about the selfie video. In bright daylight, footage looks sharp enough, exposure is decent, and the stabilization does surprisingly okay job if you're vlogging on the go. But let's be real, in 2025, when even mid-range smartphones are rocking 4K selfie video, this feels outdated. It's still fine for casual TikToks or a quick Instagram story, but don't expect it to hold up if you're trying to shoot polished content. So yeah, selfie video is usable, but nowhere near flagship level anymore. It's one of those areas where Xiaomi 12T Pro shows its age. Now let's talk about the fun stuff. Slow motion and creative features. The Xiaomi 12T Pro goes absolutely wild here. But friend, the real question you might be asking that Hamza, if this smartphone performs better than iPhone at this price point? So friends, that brings me to my final verdict. So the Xiaomi 12T Pro's 200 megapixel main sensor is the real star of the show. It's short, detailed, and handle low light like a champ. It can easily go head to head with way more expensive flagship. Now the supporting cost, this ultra-wide and macro, well, let's just say they showed up to the audition but didn't really get the part. And yeah, no telephoto lens, but the 200 megapixel sensor can crop in 2x like it's pretending to be a dedicated 12 megapixel telephoto camera. And honestly, it does a shockingly good job at it. But what really blew my mind was the video. As you saw, the smartphone punching way above its weight. I've tested tons of smartphones around this price point, but the video quality of this smartphone is out of this world. Like this budget smartphone trying to get invited to the Oscars. So bottom line, if what you care about most is a flagship main camera for everyday shots, portraits, and even night photography, the Xiaomi 12T Pro is an absolute game changer. And friends, it's not just the camera, it's the whole vibe. I've also done a full detailed review. You can check out right here or click the link in the description. Plus, if you want to buy the smartphone after watching this review, I've teamed up with Sharjah Mobile, a store you can actually trust. They got this Xiaomi 12T Pro and plenty of other hot models at killer prices. Plus, I test units myself, so don't worry. You will get the best ones. So if you're thinking of buying one, just call the numbers below in the description and use the code Hamza to get exclusive discounts too. So I 100% recommend this smartphone at this price point to anyone. And friends, that's all for this review. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, then please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to never miss a review video like this one. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up and leave your thoughts in the comments section. I would love to answer them. So my name is Hamza, this is Headstick, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you want to watch the full detailed review of the Xiaomi 12T Pro, then that video is right here. And if you want to watch the full review of the Vivo X200 FE, then that video is right here. Thank you for watching.